All right, everybody. Welcome back to another episode of the Feeling and Healing podcast. Today, I'm so happy to welcome Sallyann from Heaven's Light Wellness. Excuse me, I can't talk today for some reason. I'm just so excited to have Sallyann on. Um, she is a clairvoyant, a psychic, a seventh generation Reiki master, and she has over 40 years experience with intuitive coaching, healing, and spiritual guidance. So welcome, Sally Ann.
Thank you, Danielle. It's great to be here.
Yes,
So
I'm so
I love
happy to
them.
have you.
Yeah, thank you. Me too. I love when I get to speak to a fellow East Coaster.
Yes, yes. As we were just discussing before coming on the episode, Sally Ann lives in Arizona now, but she is from New York. I'm from New Jersey. So we were just vibing off of that's just another, we could have a whole podcast about that too, just being from the East Coast.
That's the truth.
But anyway, moving on to a more, I think, well, maybe my listeners would like that. I don't know. A lot of them maybe are from the East Coast or from the Northeast. But moving on to more of, what you do and everything. I know that you just finished and wrapped up one project, a new gratitude journal. I know you have one out already, but could you just let the audience know about that project and kind of maybe the new aspects of it, and then we can just start from there talking about gratitude.
Yeah, it's one of my favorite things to talk about.
I love it.
Yeah, it's like let's write a couple of books about them. Um, so, I think what makes so I have this. I call it the 3.0 gratitude journal because it always has to get bigger and better
Yeah, yeah.
and like more efficient. So, so my book is a little different. I actually call it a gratitude workbook and journal. So it's not just 365 pages of, what am I grateful for? And
Yeah,
there's a
yeah.
place, there's a place for that. People resonate with that. And I'm always open. Mine's a little different because of I've been working with energy for almost 40 years, and
Wow.
I'm a Reiki master and practitioner, and so that modality of energy healing is something that's really near and dear to my heart. And it's also like something, when you do something every day, it really just kind of winds up being into your person, into who you are,
Mm-hmm.
into your
Mm-hmm.
life. So when I started thinking about this gratitude journal, I was actually writing a seminar for something else. And um, as I was writing it, I noticed these components all come together. And I was like, wait a minute. Oh my gosh, let's talk about affirmations. Let's talk about how to build ourselves up. And so that's really how the book started. It starts with gratitudes that you'll have every single day, right? And it's not
Mm-hmm.
just what am I grateful for. There'll be prompts so every single day it says what am I grateful for, but then there's two other prompts. And the idea is that when you answer all three questions, and you can just do it quickly, bullet point, write a couple words. This is not like a homework essay report.
Yeah,
um,
yeah.
right, it's just like, okay, I always say write what's on the top of your head, because as soon
Yeah.
as it comes to you, that's like your truth. And
Mm-hmm.
then it brings you through this process. So 3.0 actually has 24 days of what am I grateful for? And then we'll call it the chapter ending, asks you three questions that you probably could not answer at the beginning of the chapter because they're more in depth. So that's why I call it a workbook, because it's about learning about yourself and
Mm.
how you have come far in this almost 30-day process to then be able to have some new awareness about yourself. And
Mm.
it just feels like it's easy, right? It's like, okay, I'm going to live in gratitude today, which I know is not always easy. It is a practice.
Of course.
Um,
Yeah.
yeah. Um, and so the chapters became your chakra system. So there's
Mm. Oh, I love, yeah, the seven of chakra.
Right? Yeah, 7 energy centers. And so you'll even see the colors of each chapter are related to your chakra system.
I love that.
So, yeah, this way you're bringing energy in and you're healing yourself, right? Because
Mm.
when you think about your chakra system, and I always say, if you're feeling a little like you need a boost in a certain area, wear the color of the chakra, listen to the music,
Mm.
follow affirmations. And yeah, a sneak peek is there will be a sister guide to this gratitude journal with all affirmations, but
I love that.
I probably need about a couple months break before we get there.
Yeah, because I could tell you are, and we were just talking, like, you could just keep going and going and going until when, I could tell that from your personality, from just talking to you. You're just like, go, 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 go. What's the next thing? What can I do next? What can I do now? Yeah.
Right, exactly. So it's really exciting that people be able to help themselves. And the great
Yeah.
thing is about this book is because it's color coded, you may just pick, I really need to be in red today. I may really need to be
Mm.
in blue. I may need to be in purple this month. And then you'll be able to bring that energy in, do some healing. And
Mm-hmm.
I love a little prompt, right?
Yes.
It's like it's like why we use AI in my mind.
I
I
was
don't
it's
need
so funny. You took the words
right?
right out of my mouth. I was like, oh, everybody loves the prompt. Like AI is dominating that right now.
Right? All I need is like something to start it off, and then I make it my own. But you kind of like, so I feel like with the gratitude journal and all these prompts, um, it helps us refocus.
Mm-hmm.
And you'll see in the book, it's really, again, like I said, it's 3.0. So I've started with like tips for success. Actually, the first page, you said you write a contract to yourself about how you're going to be kind to yourself, how you're going to take the
Mm-hmm.
time to do this for yourself, no more than 5 minutes a day. And so this way, and then there's tips for success for that. So there's a whole bunch of like, it's 2 pages of tips. So let me see. One says, write down 5 to 10 things that make you happy today.
Mm-hmm.
Notice good. So this one's so important. I do a lot of presentations. And so we were talking about gratitude, and I was giving some fun examples. Like, I am the woman that's grateful for red lights. Not what most people think of, right? When you think of red light, people go,
Yeah,
ugh.
I think of like stop. I think of like, yeah, yeah.
So I'm a speed demon. I mean, yeah, I said it.
Oh no, I hate to say it, I am too. I mean, I was actually just sharing with somebody last night or forgive me, or the day before that, when I was like younger, I had like, the point system on your license. I had like 8 points on my license because I would like had two really bad speeding tickets, and I was like, yeah, like that was not my finest moment, but whatever.
Exactly. So I'm not terribly proud that I happen to have a lead foot, but my mind is always like, okay, what am I doing next? Anyway, I live in this small town now, and I think there's 6 traffic lights in the whole town.
Oh my
And
God, wow.
I was going somewhere that I had to be there at a time, and my mind was going. And I'm driving through town, and I hit a red light, and I'm like, huh, I never hit red lights, right? I'm like,
Hmm.
huh, okay, that's weird. All right, let me go. I gotta go. Gotta go. So like, go to the next traffic light. Whoop, red light. I'm like, aren't these
Hmm.
things
You're like, yeah,
timed?
like
Like,
why is this going? What's happening here? Yeah.
exactly. This shouldn't be happening. So I'm finally at the fourth red light, and I'm like, holy Hannah, what the heck is happening?
Holy, you cracked
And
me up. So here's just so fun, like you cracked me up.
but I was like, what is happening? And I look at the light in front of me, and there was a really bad accident that had just occurred. And I thought, thank you. You know, when the universe gives you what you need, not what you want.
Yes, absolutely. That
And I
always.
thought, okay, I get it. That could have been me. That probably would have been me because my timing would have been appropriate. And so I thought, wow, what am I learning from this? So I have gratitude when I hit a red light because it's my angels telling me, or God, source, universe, whatever your
Whatever, yeah,
word
whatever. I
is,
always say whatever you want to call it.
whatever you want to call it, telling me stop, be aware, slow down. Right. So I have gratitude for that. And I
Hmm.
realize that, seeking gratitude in your life is not just writing it down on a piece of paper,
A
writing it in
hundred
a book,
percent.
right? But it's the nuances, it's the little tiny moments that you get all through the day that helps you get to a place of finding gratitude and being aware of it. you have a friend, and he used to crack me up because he'd be like, "Oh my God, have you ever put salt on an apple?" And I'm like, "What?" And he's like, "It's the best thing ever." So in the morning, I'll put salt on an apple sometimes, and it'll be like, "Oh my God, it's the best thing ever." And I have gratitude for that moment. I actually sit in my head and say, "Oh, I'm so grateful I have salt and this delicious apple," right? So it's interesting how you can work it into your everyday things like a freaking red light where people don't like that. And I say,
Yeah.
"Oh, thank you. I got to slow down. I got to be present." Or like an apple, which we take for granted. I know a lot of the
Yeah.
world doesn't take that for granted, but Americans, we take that for granted. So it's
Yeah.
like, oh, I have gratitude for that. And so when you build in these moments every day in your life, well, first of all, okay, so I'm a brain freak. I love the brain. My
Me too.
son
I love
had
it for the brain too.
concussions, and yeah, so I just kind of got plunged into this brain chemistry and anatomy, and I love Danielle, amen. So it actually changes your brainwave patterns and your brain chemistry when you have gratitude.
Mm,
It affects the neuroplasticity of your brain, and so it will alter that brain chemistry and go to a place of gratitude. Um, when you have trauma or
hmm.
physical or emotional trauma, it changes our brainwave patterns, and in my mind it drops, right? So the pattern looks different and then it stays
Mm,
there. So it's really hard to get back up where it needs to be, where normal is for you. Yes,
mm,
of course you can do like neurofeedback and other things, but living in gratitude and recognizing it every day actually changes your brainwave patterns, changes the neuroplasticity of your brain. And so that helps us be happier, release different hormones, be
mhm.
in a different space. And it really affects our mood and, affects our livelihood if we can say, "Oh my God, this is my favorite pen," right?
Yeah.
Silly little thing, but I'm like, "Oh, I love how this pen writes. I'm so grateful for it." Um, so it's really an interesting process. So I have a friend who says, like, I'll be like, "Oh, I'm so lucky." She goes, "No, you're not. You're blessed." And I'm like, "Ooh." And
Ooh.
so
Yeah.
I never say I'm lucky anymore. I mean,
Really? Oh, you
for,
changed that?
for years and years and years, I would say, "No, you know what? I'm blessed. I'm grateful for what I have," right? Because luck means
Yeah, luck is like kind of like just like by chance. Like,
exactly like
yeah.
roll of the dice. So maybe if I'm in Vegas, I would say, "Oh,
Yeah,
I'm
right. Yeah,
lucky."
yeah, yeah, yeah. That's true. No, but you are blessed.
Right?
Yeah, you're blessed.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I use that phrase all the time. And I think that when we say things like "I'm blessed," it steps us into a place of gratitude, right? Because it's like,
100%.
"Oh, wait, I'm not lucky. I am blessed because of," so therefore I feel, right? So it's just amazing. I don't know. I know I'm such a geek when it comes to
No, I know
gratitude.
everything. No, everything, trust me, I'm a geek too then, because everything you're talking, I'm picking up. And like I believe you that like it's like if you it's called like I mean everybody has I always say like you said like call it source whatever. I'm like everybody has their term or whatever. They say scientists call it quantum physics. People that are spiritual call it like the universe. Religion, you call it God. It's like there's something bigger out there that if you just surrender yourself to it and are grateful for those, as you said, like those moments of like, yeah, like why am I hitting these red lights? And you take a step back and you're like, wow, like there's something bigger going on than just me not getting to this place on time because I'm hitting these red lights. Like, and then
Exactly.
appreciating that and being grateful for that. And I love the story about salt on the apple. I've never done that before. I should do because I know too salt brings out all the flavors like in everything. But yeah. So it's just having those moments of gratitude are super important. And as you mentioned, it impacts our neuroplasticity, how our brain is wired. Like, so, I know our brain works off patterns.
Mm-hmm.
So, and I love that you brought up too, because this is something that I feel like I'm sure like, like people have maybe come to you with. And it's like gratitude is a practice. you know. And because if you do it once, great. Like, of course, maybe you're having a good day but like this is something you feel like people don't like to really see the benefits of it in your mental health, in your life. You have to do this like more than once, you know?
Exactly. And it's just a little tweak of what you're doing anyway, right? It's just that little bit of saying, "Oh, I'm grateful for this," right? Like, "Oh,
Hmm.
I love this pen. I finally found my favorite pen."
Yeah.
And then think, "Wow, I'm really grateful for that." Right? It's
Yeah.
just that little tiny nuance that you're adding, or to just add to like the everyday. It makes such a difference. I swear, it's like, okay, that's the challenge, right? So tell every single one of your listeners that's the challenge for the next 3 days, because I really want to say 2 weeks, because in 2 weeks you create your own habit. But for even if you only did it for like 2 days, like challenge yourself to say,
Yeah.
this, I'm really grateful for that, or oh, yummy, I'm really grateful that I'm sitting in a pizza place, or oh, yummy, I'm really grateful that, or oh, thank you for that hug, I'm so grateful for that hug or that handshake, or
Hmm.
whatever it is, catching the train. Oh my gosh, when I used to commute, I was like, I would make it by a minute and be running in my heels, and I'd be like, I'm so glad I made it. I
Yeah,
got
right.
25
Yeah,
minutes,
right. Yeah. But you're right.
yeah.
Like those little moments add up, you
100%.
know. And I don't know if you ever seen the movie, what you just described remind me. There's a movie called About Time. I don't know if you've seen it. Rachel McAdams is in it. Bill Knightley is in it. And then some kind of he's like I don't want to say no name. I feel like bad by saying this person's a no name. He's not a no name. He has a name, but he's not a well known American actor. But he's the main lead, and the whole I'm not giving anything away, but the whole premise about it is, well, maybe I am a little bit. So, the whole premise basically, I won't give up the big thing away. Basically, in his family, the men in his family can go back in time, not like crazy, but just like for a day. And he said that his father told him like how to measure like the happiness of life is basically he's like he did it once where he went in time and he had like a really rough day. He was a lawyer, so tough day in court and didn't notice all the things as we're saying like you could be grateful for. And it was just an ordinary day and he like went into bed with his wife and he was like, oh yeah, it was like kind of a bad day today. But then he relived the day because he could go back in time, and he noticed all of the little like the little
Aw.
nuances and like the beautiful things and that things that he was grateful for, like the woman that gave him the sandwich and smiled. And by the end of that day, he was just in a better mood and happier. And I was just like, those are the little things that if you just do that every day, that could make such a big impact on your mental health, on your mood, on your physical health.
Yeah. And it's so funny because you say like the woman that handed him a sandwich and smiled. Well, especially when I was in New York City, that
Oh
was my
gosh, yeah.
goal. My
Yeah.
goal was, how many people could I smile at today? Right?
I love
Because
that.
when you give that away, which costs me nothing, and by the way, makes me feel better, right? Because when you're
100%.
smiling, it makes me feel better. And I give that to somebody else, it helps them feel better too. And it changes the so the shift of perspective. I have this thing called the
Hmm.
empowerment approach. And part of that is this shift of perspective that is so it's just so minor that can make catastrophically wonderful changes in your life by looking at something different.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Actually, just my friend, she's very spiritual. She's like a shaman. I'm like, good for you, girl. I'm like, I don't, and I just like her because we can just bounce off spiritual things with each other.
Uh-huh.
And she sent me this like thing the other day that was like there was this study that there was like a plant. They put a plant in a dark room and
Mm.
they took light and they would just like rotate it between all the parts of the room. But for some reason, the light was being like manipulated by the plant and like it wasn't like following the normal pattern. And they were like, that's how impactful, like to your story, like the plant's energy was to the room. Like,
Mm-hmm.
so like even though, yeah, this light was on a track and it would track, the plant was somehow like I know not mysteriously, I'll just say that for lack of a better term, like
Hmm.
impacting the trajectory of this light because of its energy. And I was like, yeah, like that's the power that you have with the impact that you have on other people and your surrounding and your environment. And I love that little tiny shift of perspective. That's all it takes.
Yeah. It makes a huge difference. It's so powerful. Yeah. I love it. And when you give people permission to go do that, like, wouldn't it be great if every single person said, I'm going to smile at the person next to me, in front of me, behind me? It's like, can you imagine
I
how,
know,
like,
like yeah, as you said, the ripple effect that could have on the world.
yes, yes. Oh,
No,
I
I
love
would
that.
love your opinion though, because I mean, you worked with, I'm sure your like, energy work. Like, why do you think that we don't do that? I mean, I have my theories, but
Honestly, I don't think we're given permission.
you don't think we're given
Um,
permission to do it?
I
Okay.
don't think that the world gives us permission to be happy, right? Like,
Yeah.
you need this medicine, you need this cream to be prettier and better. You need this, you know, I don't know. Like, the world is about consumption. And look, I was
Hmm.
in the marketing and advertising world for a really
Say
long
was say
time,
was
right?
I.
Uh,
Yep.
uh, I'm
Yep.
telling you, sister, we speak the same language,
We
right?
do.
But
We do.
if you have permission to, I remember, gosh, my son, he's 30 now, but when he was little, I remember he said, Mommy, you don't put on makeup. You don't need makeup. I wear
Oh.
eyeliner and lipstick. That's all I've ever worn my entire life, mostly because I don't know how to do the rest, but whatever. It's like, whoop, whip on
You're
some
like, we're
eyeliner.
good.
Exactly. This is what you got, right? Um, but it's like, and I remember I said to him, Oh, honey, I don't, and I remember him saying, You're just so beautiful as you are. And I said,
Yeah.
Baby, I'm not doing this for anybody but me. It makes
Yeah.
me feel good. And he
Yeah.
was like, Okay. And he was like 7, right? And so I was like, and he goes, Oh, okay, mommy, if that's why you do it. And I was like, Yeah, that's why I do it. I don't do it
Yeah.
for anybody else. Like, I'm not, like, I had a very wonderful growing up. I really do feel like um, I I don't care what other people think about me, because I work really hard on myself to be a good
Hmm.
human. And if I
Exactly.
could
Yeah.
be a good human, a good neighbor, um, ask people that need help or whatever it is, right?
Yeah.
That I can't, I'm not going to judge myself. And
No.
so I don't put credence into others that judge me. I don't think a ton of people judge me, but if you do, that's okay. Like, that's your right.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
But so I don't seek permission from people that aren't going to change my life.
Yeah.
Clearly I want to be a good human for my partner, my family, my
Of
children. Of
course.
course, I want to do that, but that's what I want to make sure and do for myself, because I feel like that's the right thing to do. That, maybe it's a little bit of my Roman Catholic upbringing coming in, but I just want to, I want to give myself permission to live my best life as I perceive it without hurting others, right? Like,
Of
your best
course.
life isn't being selfish or taking things, or it's about this internal decision
Mm.
to live the best life I possibly can, but not on the coattails of somebody else, right? So it becomes more internal. And I don't think the world tells us, go live your best life. Like, you got this.
Hmm. Yeah.
Intrinsically what you need, what you want, but we look outside to say,
Hmm.
okay, what do I need? Oh,
Yeah.
I need this to be popular. I need this to be healthy, or I need this. When, some people may just know they need to go outside. They need to go
Exactly.
for a
Yep.
walk,
Yep.
right?
Yep. I always
Um,
tell people to like, and like, I know this might be like a spiritual term, but I think like in anything, it's all within us. Like we know, like,
mhm.
as I mean, similar to you, very similar backgrounds, working in market, and I know like all what marketing and advertising is doing is trying to manipulate us to buy something because they think they want us to think that we need it. That's it.
Yeah.
And of course I'm not saying we don't need food and all these things, but like talk up you said consumerism, I think, and they play tricks on on our brains because they know how dopamine works. They know how everything, you know probably better than me because you're a brain nerd, kind of similar to me, but
Mhm.
they know, there's chemical responses in our bodies that are triggered when we see different colors, different, taste different things. So the system knows this. And I'm not
Mhm.
being a conspiracy theorist. I'm just stating facts. I mean, there are documentaries out there about it that and even I learned that there's psychology behind it. I mean, pretty much they're trying to figure out, what to make us to buy. That's all it is.
Right. Like I think that the optimist in me wants to say, well, we're solving a problem, right? So if you
Hmm.
have this problem, then here you go, you can have it. And I don't think there's anything wrong with that. I think what becomes wrong is when everybody says, you need this. Even if you
Hmm.
say, well, I really don't need wrinkle cream, right? But then you say, oh, but I don't want to get wrinkles. Why not? Like,
Yeah,
you
yeah.
you earn those damn wrinkles, right? Like people that don't want smile lines, I'm like, I worked
Really,
50
yeah, you
years
you
to
had
get that
really
smile
happy
line.
moments in your life to have those. Yeah.
Right? Again,
Yeah.
it's a
It's a
perspective
little
switch.
switch.
Right. It's like, no, I don't mind my smile lines. Like I worked at those. Like I'm grateful. That's like a great thing I want to show in my life that I
Yeah,
have
that you were
smiled
able
most
to
of it.
smile that much in your whole life. Yeah.
Exactly. So, yeah, so I think, if we give ourselves permission to know what we need,
Hmm.
then and not feel like gaslit or looking for somebody else for permission to be who we are. So that strength within ourselves, hardest thing ever, I think,
Oh
especially
yeah.
for
Oh yeah, we're
women.
talking like
And
this like it's easy, but it's not.
oh yeah, 100%. This is not easy, right? But it's
No.
recognizing, what do I need, right? Do I need
Hmm.
this? So a couple of years ago, I started this. When you go to like the store, like, and you go, oh, I want this, and I want this, and I want this, and it doesn't matter.
Yeah,
Clothing
clothes, food,
store,
yeah.
shoe store, right? Whatever, food store, whatever. And then, so a couple of years ago, I said, okay, I'm going to do my wants. And then at the end, I go, wait, but what do I need? Like, why are all these things in my cart? Right? Because I
Hmm.
found myself that I'm buying all these things, and I was like, why am I
Yeah, why
buying
am I
these?
buying
Right?
this? Yeah.
So I actually take a moment before I go to check out and I say, okay. And I hold up everything and I was like, do I really need this? Do I really want this? Like, does this need to be in my life? And then I walk around the store and I put everything back that really I don't need. And I realize that once I sit in a space to decide what I'm going to consume, what I really need in my life, man, I'll wind up with like a third of what I
Yeah.
wanted at the beginning. And it
Uh-huh.
makes such a difference too. I walk out of there and I'm like, whew, I'm like taller. Like, look what I did for myself. I'm so proud of myself, right? It's like, so it's just, again, it's finding like the little nuances in your life that you can have control over and say, this works for me.
Yeah, no, I love that. Like, I love that because you're right. Look, guilt, it's like taking your power back. And I'm not saying we're not powerless, but I think sometimes, as you said, like that's what you give yourself permission to do. It's like permission to have your power. It's like you are, I always say to people like, yeah, it's all within us. And like we are powerful little human, like we might not just be like, we're not all little human beings. Some of us like, like all these people that are like quote unquote like in power in our society. I'm like, you have as much bandwidth as they do. They just used it in a different way, like you're just limited by your own beliefs, basically, pretty much.
Yeah. And then, those emotional beliefs affect us physically. I
A
mean, that's
hundred.
what
Oh my God.
Reiki's about and energy healing, right? It's that physicality. So, and sometimes it happens for us for years and years and years and years and years and years. And then one day we go, wait a minute.
Hmm. Yeah, I know. We were like,
Oh,
something ain't adding up here.
exactly. Now I say, uh, so we were talking about heart chakra yesterday. We had this sip and paint class. It was so much fun. It was all about hearts and
Hmm.
being in gratitude and understanding what our
Yeah.
heart chakra does and all these things. And so I said, when all the stuff comes in, when people say crappy things to us and we know it's not true, the world still tells us you have to take it. And
Hmm.
so my thought is, no, I don't. I can I put it in a ball in front of me, even if I have to process it later, and say,
Yeah, no.
what part of this is mine? And it could be like this little 2%. And you're like, okay, this 2%, I'll take that and I'll
Yeah.
learn it.
Yeah.
And the rest, I'm going to throw it away. I create a big bucket of love. Like I walk around with a bucket of love next to me. So
I
I
love
just
that.
throw all the ick in a bucket of love. Because who wants ick around in the world, right? But
No,
a lot
nobody.
of us weren't taught that. We were taught you take it, you accept it, you say
Hmm.
thank you very much for the shit sandwich, and then we go, what do we do with it? And so we shove it in our legs and our hips, and I say,
Mm.
and that's why when we get older, we need new hips, new
Uh,
knees, because we've been dragging
we've
around
been storing it.
storing other people's crap about us because we haven't given ourselves permission to live our best life or understand who we are. And we're storing it and dragging it around. And
Hmm.
now it has turned into a physical thing because we've been doing it for our whole lives because
Pretty much.
that's
I
what
mean,
you thought.
that's what we're taught, we're taught that.
Of course, 100%. I mean, no one sits down with a child and says, okay, tell me what you feel the way you want to do that. Right.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah. Only I
we,
would say a very emotionally intelligent parents probably do that, with their children. But
yep.
yeah, not been that's not something you learn as a parent to do.
No, because we're in protection mode. We need to protect you. We need to make sure you live in society. We need to make sure you're safe that way. It's a really difficult balance to
Hmm.
do that with ourselves, let alone our children, which we have more fear about. It's like, oh my
Oh
gosh, I don't
yeah,
want you to.
100%. Yeah.
Yeah. So it's just really interesting when we can sit back and say, okay, wait, does this belong to me? Right.
Hmm.
And that's, I think, part of that's part of the gratitude process is breathing and processing to say, man, that's not true. Right. Think
Hmm.
about, like, I know it happens more back east than it happens out here, but
All
if
good.
you're driving, right, and some person zooms by you, is flipping you off, honking the
Yeah.
horn, like, holy crap, what's the first thing we say? What I do?
Yeah,
Oh
what
my
I do
god.
wrong? Yeah, what did I do? Yeah, what did I do? Yeah.
Right. But the reality, Danielle, has nothing to do with you and everything to do with that person in that car. He
Yep.
doesn't know what you look like, if you're here, she, maybe he knows what your hair color is. That
But they
person
don't
that's
know anything
driving
about
crazy,
you. Yeah.
it's not about you. It's about them. It's about where they are at that moment. And so, like, now, if that ever happens, and it's very rare out here because we have plenty of room out here, I just
Yeah, we're in the Northeast. We're a little compact over
yes,
here.
exactly. But when that happens, I'm like, oh, just get there safe and don't hurt yourself or anybody else. Like, that's kind of like
Yes,
this
yeah, that's
thing
what you
I put
tell them.
on
Yeah.
people. Right. Instead of what did I do? Because I'd be like, what did I do? Was I going too fast? Was I going
Hmm.
too fast? Was I going too slow? Did I look at my phone?
Yeah, like was it me? Yeah, yeah.
Right. And I could say, oh, I was going fast. Okay, that's that 2%. That belongs to me. Okay, I'm going to slow down. Right.
Yeah.
But the rest of it doesn't belong to me. And
Yeah.
I'm no longer permitting myself, I'm currently giving myself permission to live my best life, to get rid of that and say, that doesn't belong to me. Hope you get there
Hmm.
safe. Please be safe. Please don't hurt yourself or anybody else. Right. It shifts things around. So that's how I kind of feel about what our issue is with the world. I know it's very, that's a really umbrella statement.
No. I think no, but I think too, it's like, yeah, we are complex as human beings, but it is very simple. And I've learned that too. And like, I have to practice my own discernment and be like, Danielle, like, and I don't label people, but I'm like, I always say, like, I'm not curing cancer, and those people that do cure cancer are in a rush. Like, if somebody like gets in front of me in a line, like, or like cuts me off, I'm not gonna like freak out at them because I'm like, maybe I try to think like maybe they're rushing to get somewhere because there's an emergency going on. Like, I try to keep I don't try to like get frustrated with the world because I'm like, I like to keep my inner world at peace. Like, if your inner world is at peace, you don't want to be causing chaos everywhere else. As you said, when you're causing chaos out in the world, you're coming from a place of chaos. Like,
Mhm.
of course, we all have our moments, right? Like,
Of
we're human.
course.
But like for in general, like I know because I'm at peace with myself, like I don't want to cause anybody hurt, pain, frustration, like, so like because I know how that feels and I don't want to be the cause of that.
Right.
you
Right.
know.
I
But then
know.
I also have to understand that's me and that's the way I think. And I think I've learned in my journey that I need to do a better job of like meeting people where they need to be met, especially like emotionally, because I'm a very emotionally deep person and not everybody is like that.
Mhm.
And I'm very in touch with my emotions and I know all of them. I can sit with them uncomfortably.
You call them by name.
I know, I'm like, I have a lot of parts within this person, but yeah, like, but the thing is like, those are also like skills. Like, I had to go through the life experience to gain those skills and also
100.
like feel those emotions and feel those things. Like, life's a paradox, right? Like, in order to like heal, we have to hurt. Or,
Hmm.
in order to win, we have to lose, like we have to experience both.
Yeah. Yeah. That's what I call it, like walking through the door. Like you
Mm,
have to walk through what shows up. And it's always hard to open that, like to turn the knob and open the door. But the reality is, it's always better on the other side. It's like what we worry about. But yeah, I mean, I think that's part of this wonderful journey we're on is like, all right, how many doors are in front of me? And sometimes I fling them open and walk through. And sometimes I'm like a little hesitant. Okay.
yeah, you're like, I don't want to open that door.
Right. It's like, okay, I know I can do this. That's why it's here. Okay. I know I can do it. Right. And then I walk through the door and then figure it out. But yeah, it's so interesting about how we choose to live our life. Right. And some people say, well, I don't have a choice. I got to tell you, you have a choice no matter what, even
Mm.
if it is a hard choice. And again, I'm not talking about war. I'm not talking about what others put upon us. I'm not talking about that because those
What
are
you
things
want.
you can't control. But
Yeah.
it's like
Oh
the
yeah, yeah. There
internal
are
things
things we
we
can't
control.
control in this world, obviously. You know.
Exactly. Exactly. It's still bigger than us, but yeah. So it's so
I get
funny. Mhm.
I was gonna ask you, I guess like because I know you and I kind of have similar stories of like, being in corporate and then leaving it. Like, what was your moment of like inner knowing? You were just like, ah yeah, like I feel called to this, the energy like world.
Honestly, it's interesting. So I was in the corporate world for a really long time, worked in huge advertising marketing in New York City, moved to Arizona with a corporate job, came
Uh-huh.
here to Arizona. And we moved right before like literally 2 weeks before 9/11.
Oh my
So
God.
9,
Wow.
and my husband used to work in the World Trade Center.
Oh
So
my, see, wow. That's
yes.
crazy.
So I was here. He was in Boston. 9/11 happened. And the world that
Yeah,
I knew shut down.
100%. Yeah.
And I forgot where I was going with this really. So okay, so um I was here and I'm raising my kids and trying to create this level playing field, if you will, for them and what this world has changed into. And um, I realized I didn't want my husband back east, like, because
Mhm.
we had moved here with the thought of him commuting back and forth. It was
Oh,
supposed to be,
wow.
he was supposed to commute to LA, which is only a 45-minute flight. And then 9/11 happened and that went away. And then he
Yeah.
wound up, because of his job, he actually wound up in New York City for almost 9 years. So
Oh
he
my
would
God.
commute weekly back and forth. It was crazy. But
Wow.
I realized I'm like, yeah, I don't want him. I don't want to do this anymore. I don't want to live separate.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
so I had a couple of years of staying home and raising my babies, and it was awesome. And then I wanted a different job. I wanted a corporate job here. I'm a corporate girl all the way. I love the corporate world. Not everybody does.
Yeah. Teach his
I
own.
love it there. Yeah. So um so I got this amazing job that I loved that really just kind of let me fly. So I was able to be philanthropic and a strategic thinker and all these wonderful things. Well, at the end of that, so it was 9 years. And I knew things were shifting. Things were shifting again, like that shift I felt during 9/11. I
Mm.
felt not the catastrophe, but
Yeah.
the emotional upheaval of the world. And again,
Mm.
I've had this gift since I was 20.
Yeah,
So,
yeah, you're generational. You got the gift. Yeah.
exactly. So I understood what was happening. And I was like, I remember I called up my executive vice president who was in California, and I said, I'm not having fun anymore. And she said, "What does that mean?" And so 9 years prior, I had said to her, "I'll do this till it's not fun anymore." Right. Because I'm like,
Mm.
I want to have fun. I want
Yeah,
to
you want to enjoy
have
it.
fulfillment. I want to help charities. I want to fulfill the role. And clearly after 9 years, I was fulfilling the role, but I was like, it's just not fun anymore. And she's like, "Oh my God, what does that mean?" I said, "I told you I would do this till it wasn't fun
Till you
anymore."
weren't fun. Yeah, yeah, that's what you
Yeah.
said. Yep.
And I was like, and so now it's time for a change. We need to transition away from this. So I really didn't know what I wanted to do, but I was like, I think I just need to shift. So here's the crazy thing. So I started looking for jobs. I was released from that job. We had an exit plan, save a couple other jobs and other people there. And um, and I was looking. I was the most employable person you would know, Danielle. People would say, "You'll have a job in 3 minutes." I'm like, "Yeah, I want a job that I love."
Mm.
So I'm going through this process and I'm like, wait a minute. How do you not how do you not get a job interview in a marketing position and the mayor of the town
Oh wow,
or
yeah.
the
Yeah.
vice president of this huge
Whatever
conglomerate,
court, yeah, whatever
right? Like,
company, yeah.
yes, because I was very involved in my whole community when I was working this other job. So I was like, how is this happening? And so my girlfriend had asked me to work on, she had plantar fasciitis. So I was
Mm.
over there giving her Reiki and doing energy healing on her feet. And she's asking me about this. And I was like, I don't understand. Like, it had been 6 weeks since I left that job. I'm like, this doesn't make sense. Like, this fell through and this fell through and this fell through. I mean, these were jobs that were actually listed, right? It wasn't like I hit somebody up for this opportunistic job. So I was like, I don't understand. And I started talking and I started laughing. And my girlfriend's like, what? And
Yeah.
I said, 13 jobs, 13 opportunities missed. And she's like, oh, now 13 is my lucky number.
Oh wow, yeah. There we go.
I was married on a 13, did not want to get married on a Saturday. I want to get married on a Sunday. Nope, they don't do Sunday weddings in Arizona. I had to get married on Saturday at 13. My
Okay.
son was born 2 weeks early on a 13.
Interesting.
Five 5 years later, my daughter is born 2 days late on a 13. So
Crazy. Yeah, not a coincidence, people.
not a coincidence. Yes. So here we go, another life altering shift, and it has a 13, right? I'm like, oh, 13 jobs.
Wow.
So I started laughing. She goes, "What are you laughing about?" I'm like, 13 missed opportunities. Of course it's a 13. Yeah, I have a
Yeah.
13 tattooed on me. Um, and she's like, "Well, that's because you're doing exactly what you're supposed to be doing." I'm like,
Yeah.
"What?" And she's like, "This is what you should be doing." So I was like, okay. So then I put all my energy there. Ironically, I went to order a business card, and it was 1 year from the date I was ordering them. I had designed them a whole year prior.
Mm-hmm.
But it was just one of those, I'm up at
Yeah.
3 o'clock in the morning. Let me go do something. Let me dream. So not only did I manifest it, but it was 1 year later. And really, I haven't looked back. I mean,
That's
I've been
amazing.
doing this, full time for 9 years, and I'm completely blessed every single day. I love what I do every single day.
I
And,
feel the same way about, yeah, I get it.
yeah. And I'm still going strong, right? It wasn't like I'm no longer having fun,
No,
right?
yeah,
I'm
yeah.
no longer fulfilling like my internal joy. And, I told I have, there's 9 of us from college. So we've known each other for like over 40 years. And
Wow.
so I told my girl tribe, and 2 of them said to me, well, it's about time. And I was
Yeah, right.
like,
They're like, yeah, they're like, come on.
what? Yeah. And they both said, you should have done this 10 years ago. And I was like, well, I needed to protect my children. That's why I didn't do it 10 years ago, because,
Of course, yeah.
where I live is not like living in New York where, everybody's mother had a psychic that came into the house. So um, it's a different mentality.
It is a little, yeah, it's a little, yeah, it's a little, yeah, yeah, it's true.
Yeah. So that's really was like my big aha moment for me, was saying, all right, this is what I need to do now, 100%. I just, I joke around and I said, God was tired of waiting for me. So he made this like
Oh, yeah.
tumultuous
He
moment in
made
my
that, yeah, he made it hard
life.
for, well, like, but you're right, like the universe will make, and I feel similarly with my journey too. And I like, and I'm sure like, I worked in marketing as well. We share that in common. And I
Yeah.
always tell myself, I tell myself something, and then I have to then counteract it with I know the universe was trying to help me do this. I was like, oh, Danielle, like I should have done my coaching business and become a therapist so much earlier in life because I'm 37. And I'm like,
Mm-hmm.
why didn't you do this like earlier? And I was like, because the universe or whoever, whatever I call it, the universe, wanted me
Yeah.
to learn all the skills, all of the marketing skills to be my own boss. They wanted me to learn that because I will say, I didn't learn it in school. I'm going back to school to become a therapist. I'm not learning how to start my own practice in school. I'm not
Right.
learning anything about business. I'm learning about theory, which is what you should be learning. But I want to just add therapy as a component of my business. And I was like, that's the reason why I stayed in marketing for 14 years was to learn that. So,
Mm-hmm.
so
It's
like, and I was
amazing.
like, there you go. I'm like, and like, I don't see it as a loss. I mean, of course, I sat there and I was like, oh yeah, it would have been nice to, but I'm like, no, it wasn't a loss. It was just part of my path.
Right. It's part of the growing that made you today,
Exactly.
which is
Exactly.
amazing. I know we do a lot of events. I do a lot of events and retreats. And so we'll sit down, even with like a new venue, and they're like, okay, well, what about this? What about this? And I'm like, here you go. Here's an event plan. It has all the details. It has what I think
Yeah,
I
yeah,
think
yeah. Oh
is
yeah,
everything.
you're probably
Yeah,
like dangerous. They're probably like, oh yeah, like you probably did their job.
100%. They're like, wait, oh my God, I've never had this. I'm like, I'll send you the template. It's fine. I've been doing this for 30 years. I know how to do this like the back of my
Exactly. But like
hand.
that's the thing. It's
Right?
like it's that's also too like I find that similar with your event thing. Like I find that with my website. Like I
Mm-hmm.
used to do that for a living. So I built my own website. Like now I have somebody I work with that like because I'm just strapped for time. But like also too it comes in handy sometimes. Like I know how to do that, so I'm paying like so like when you if somebody wants to I hate for lack of a better term like rip you off.
Yeah.
I'm gonna question, be like, oh, I know how long that takes like to do that. Like so it's like I can kind of see, kind of see through the smoke and mirrors a little bit if people are maybe, and that's like also too like my energetic or universe protecting me, being like, because I have the knowledge. Like you don't know what you
Exactly.
don't know,
Yep.
unfortunately.
I love
And,
it. I say that phrase all the time. Yeah.
yeah.
And that no one can ever take your knowledge away.
No,
Right.
no. Yep.
And so, I am a big proponent. I'm like, you want to study quantum science? Go.
Yeah,
Right.
go for it.
You
Yeah.
you
Yeah.
want to study cybersecurity? Like my daughter just decided to get a cybersecurity certificate. I was like,
Smart. Very
go.
smart.
I'm like,
Very
no one's
smart.
going to take that away from you. She already
Yeah.
has an MBA in international business from like one of the top schools. And I'm like, go. No one's going to take
Oh
that
yeah,
away from you. It
no.
doesn't
I'm
matter
a
if you use it or
big,
not.
big supporter of education, no matter how you get it, formally through higher education. Of course, I'm in a master's program now, so I support higher education.
Mm-hmm.
But like I'm all about like learn, like while we're here having this human experience, learn as much as you can. Like I'm reading all the
100%.
time. Like I just feel like I'm just like a sponge. Like I'm like always soaking it up. I'm like, what can I learn? But then again, that's us too. Like some people
It's true.
don't want, I mean, and if you, and then, hey, that's cool.
Mm-hmm.
Like, don't come to our party then. Mine is
Yeah.
Sally's party. You're not invited then, you know?
Exactly. It's a fine, really.
But Sally, this has been
Awesome.
such a wonderful conversation. And
I
when your
love it.
gratitude journal is ready, I will have a link in the show notes for my listeners, and also I'll grab the link probably from you. But where can they find it?
Um, so it'll be on Amazon. It's
Okay.
also at heavenslightwellness.com.
Perfect.
And you'll see the gratitude journal if you go into the shop. And a really fun thing about this gratitude journal, there's a whole bunch of feathers in here.
Mhm.
Every single one of these feathers were given to me by the angels. So I've found them when I needed them. They're always like poignant. So we took pictures of them
That's really
and
cool.
incorporated them in here. Yeah, it's really a cool thing. So keep
So
finding your
cool.
symbols and keep finding
Yeah.
yourself.
I love that. Well, thank you so much for being on. And as per usual, everybody, you can find this episode of the Feeling and Healing podcast on YouTube as well as Apple Podcasts and Spotify.